What is up, and welcome to the continuation of our division by division breakdown, where we're going through all 32 teams, and we are talking about the NFL draft that just happened, every rookie that's coming in that's fantasy relevant, and what it means to the veterans that are there. We're brought to you by Dynasty League Football. Make sure you're subscribed, premium subscription. I'm here with Tyler, and we have opinions, to say the least. So,
yes,
we started in Houston, where there has been plenty of ink spilled on paper this offseason for good reasons and bad, mostly bad. And in the draft, they did not have a first-round pick. They did not have a second-round pick. And in the third round, they went ahead and addressed the quarterback position, and they brought in Davis Mills in round 3, pick number 67 out of Stanford. He was getting some buzz as a potential late first round pick. I think Houston is nervous about what they're going to get in production of the quarterback position. Does this help them address that?
No, it doesn't help them address that at all. Deshaun Watson is never playing for the Texans again. Let's just get that out of the way right now. Deshaun Watson is not playing for the Texans. He wasn't going to play for the Texans before. Now, is he ever going to play in the NFL again? I don't think Deshaun Watson plays a snap in 2021. I think the question is, when does Deshaun Watson come back in 2022, maybe? So I think he's irrelevant to this conversation. He also refused to play for the Texans. Those issues, people have forgotten about those issues, but those issues have not been resolved at all. So there's so many issues here. Deshaun Watson's entire career is in doubt, and for good reason. So he is not relevant to this discussion at all. So now we have Davis Mills and Tyrod Taylor on the roster. I don't know. I think whoever it is going to be a disaster. The whole team is a disaster. Davis Mills, I think, is being thrown to the wolves if he plays. Tyrod Taylor, we know, is terrible. I mean, he was good a while ago, but he's well past his prime. He's just okay. So they're going to be bad. And I think we'll see Davis Mills have a chance to play, and he'll be terrible because they have no weapons of any kind. No, it's just whatever it is, whatever I'm going to say. They don't have that. They don't have good running backs, good receivers. No, they don't have that. Good tight end. No. Good offensive line. It wasn't good last year. Defense. No, they don't have that. There's a reason they have no draft picks. So they spent all the money in free agency to get old and busted players like Mark Ingram. So yeah, just the whole team is a dumpster fire. It's the worst team in the NFL. And this team is going to have a new quarterback in 2022. They're going to be one of the worst teams. You're going to see, I mean, we don't want to look too much ahead to the 2022 class, but you're going to see, Spencer Rattler or Keaton Slovis or Sam Howell on this team more than likely. Unless Davis Mills beats the odds somehow. I don't like him. I don't think he's good. The situation's awful. But he's a quarterback, and Superflex is probably going to get a chance to play. And that means you got to take him in the late second round. I don't like it, but you don't have a choice. You have to. You have to. There's just no other way to play it. He's worth a late second round pick. This class is just bad. The landing spots were bad. Who else are you going to take? Just take a chance on a quarterback in Superflex. It gives you the chance of the biggest windfall. And one QB, obviously, you're not taking Davis Mills.
You mentioned the rest of the team there, and I will say they spent their first 3 picks on offensive weapons, although that's 2 third rounds and a 5th round. The other third round pick was Nico Collins out of Michigan. Kind of interesting wide receiver. Could fall in some targets and to a decent role. Brevin Jordan was the 5th round pick. A lot of people thought he would go higher. He ends up going to the 5th round out of Miami. Pretty good pass catcher. I mean, both these guys could carve out a role, right?
I'm very interested in Nico Collins. I like that he's going to get an opportunity to play earlier. They have nothing on the depth chart other than Brandon Cooks. Nothing. So he's going to get an opportunity to play early. Now, why do I like this? because he's going to get an opportunity to play early and maybe establish himself on the depth chart. And then perhaps in 2022, they get a real quarterback. They get a real quarterback. And then if he's established himself, good playing time in year one, and then year two gets a quarterback upgrade, we're going to be excited about that player. He had day 2 draft capital. So Nico Collins is someone I'm targeting in rookie drafts. I like the opportunity. We just want opportunity, a path to play for these second and third round players, and he has it. So, yeah, I'm targeting Nico Collins in rookie drafts. And then Brevin Jordan, I mean, he fell all the way to the 5th round. That's a huge disappointment for me. But he's athletic. There's not a lot of obstacles on the tight end depth chart there. Just Jordan Akins, really. Haley Boring, sort of. Not really. So take a flyer on him in regular 1 QB leagues. I mean, a mid 4th if you want, mid to late 4th rounder. What else are you doing at that point? You're taking some running back who has needs 2 injuries to get on the field. So sure. Athletic upside. I thought he would be a round 2 pick. So I'm surprised he was available in the 5th. I think it was a great pick from the Texans, actually. One of the few competent decisions their organization has made is picking Brevin Jordan. So I do like the selection there.
Well, the next team we're going to talk about, the Indianapolis Colts, made an interesting decision, to say the least, and one that I know you've had opinions about, to go trade for a brand new franchise quarterback that they brought in. And of course, what you want to do in the draft is you want to surround that quarterback with the most amount of talent that you can. So in the 4th round, they bring in Kylan Granson out of Southern Methodist, a tight end.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable is what I would describe their draft. They needed to get serious weapons for Carson Wentz, or as I like to call him, Carson Disaster. We don't want Carson Wentz to be our quarterback. You say they traded for a franchise quarterback. I think differently. They didn't trade for a franchise quarterback. They traded for failure. I don't like failure. We talk about this on every show. Or failures, I don't want bounce back. I don't want you failed. He was a failure. I mean, he was the worst quarterback in the league last year. I don't want to try to fix it. Fix bad? No, thank you. So I don't want any of that on my team. But they had in the 54th pick, Pat Freiermuth on the board. He was the next pick to the Steelers. They decided to go with defensive end. No, they needed to go with the tight end there. They have no tight ends on this roster. Kylan Granson, whatever that was his name, Kylan Granson in the 5th, 4th round or whatever it was, that doesn't work for me. I mean, we're talking about a project tight end. By the time he's ready to play, Carson Wentz is going to be benched as he deserves to be. They should have taken Pat Freiermuth in the 2nd round, at least given Carson Wentz a tight end, which we know what he's done with Zach Ertz, what he's done with Dallas Goedert. So incompetent decision-making by the Colts there. They should have surrounded him with weapons, like you said. I don't believe in T.Y. Hilton at this point in his career. He's not a number 1 wide receiver. Michael Pittman was okay. And Paris Campbell has barely stayed on the field. What has Paris Campbell done? He's played 3 games in 2 years. And Zach Pascal is also on that depth chart, and he's just a Jag. So this is not inspiring for me. They're setting up Carson Wentz to fail. He probably would have failed anyway, but they're setting him up to fail. So, yeah, I can only criticize the Colts draft. They picked Kylan Granson when Brevin Jordan was still on the board. Incompetent decision-making.
Nyheim Hines is getting 130 targets in that offense. And
if Paris Campbell goes down, they don't have a better option in the slot, really. So, yes, potentially, Nyheim Hines could be an under-the-radar buy if people don't realize the numbers he put up last year. He could be someone you want to get on your team as that RB3 in an RB light room.
I think that the Colts are going to be one of the most boring teams to watch on Sundays, whereas all of a sudden in Jacksonville, it's going to be must-see TV. I am so excited to see what the Jacksonville Jaguars product looks like on the field. They bring in Trevor Lawrence, Urban Meyer, the new head coach. They got Darrell Bevell, his offense. They bring in the 1st round. They follow up Trevor Lawrence with his favorite go-to guy in Travis Etienne. Nothing else super exciting offensively. I mean, in the 6th round, they brought in a wide receiver, Jalen Camp, but they got plenty of those already. This is going to be exciting offense. How quickly does this new crop of talent and head coach and all that turn around this Jacksonville Jaguars offense?
Immediately. It turns it around immediately. I agree. I think we're going to have, this is going to be must-see TV. The Colts are going to be must-see TV because they're going to be awful. But this is going to be must-see TV of a different variety with the Jaguars. We are going to see Trevor Lawrence with the best rookie year, I think, of a quarterback ever. And then remember what happened last year with Justin Herbert. I think we're going to see better than that. We're going to see better than that this year. I think this is going to be the best year that a rookie quarterback has ever had. That's what I think we're going to see. And I'm all in. I'm all in on Trevor Lawrence. I think he's every bit the generational prospect that people have said. People are overthinking it. People are saying, oh, no, we don't like this part, or, oh, it's not perfect that he threw the ball on this play. You had to look in 3 years. You looked in 3 years. You found like 2 things you didn't like. 2 things you didn't like in 3 years. You're overthinking it. Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback prospect ever. I don't think it's close. I really don't. The prospect. Not saying he's the best player ever, but I think he's the best quarterback prospect ever. And I'm very comfortable saying that. I think he has a chance to be a QB1 immediately. I'm not sure I'm going to rank him that way, but I might. I might. He has rushing upside. People forget about that. People forget that Trevor Lawrence is very capable as a runner. He is very capable as a runner. He's perfectly capable of running outside the pocket. He has multiple highlight plays and, running the ball in college. Why can't he do that in the NFL? Travis Etienne and Laviska Shenault are going to create space for him. Short area field. He could easily get outside the pocket, and that's what we need for someone to finish as a QB1. I think he could totally do it. I'm very excited for him. He's already a mid-first round pick in Superflex for me. I mean, there's no questions about it. That's what I think about him. And then moving on to their other selections, Travis Etienne, I thought was a curious decision. I don't really think they needed they have other holes on the team on defense. I just think they're not in the position to spend a luxury pick on a running back in the first round. I criticize the decision, but for fantasy, the decision was made. So it is what it is. For fantasy, I got to be all in on Travis Etienne. We play in a PPR format. I mean, we know that this quarterback delivered receptions to this running back in college. Don't you want that on your team? You don't want the running back. He got 37 receptions in 2019, 48 in 2020 from this quarterback. And you're telling me, oh, I don't want that guy. I don't want that guy who was picked in the first round, who's playing with the same quarterback who delivered those receptions in college, because someone else is there. You can make that mistake if you like, but I'll take Travis Etienne, even if all he does, and this comp has been thrown around so many times at this point, but I kind of agree with it. So I'll say it again. If all he does is the Alvin Kamara and the Saints offense role compared to James Robinson's Mark Ingram, I think I'll be pretty happy with it. And enjoy Travis Etienne's high floor that he gets for his full 4-year first-round pick contract plus a 5th-year option floor that he has in the PPR game. I just think Trevor Lawrence is going to raise the whole floor and ceiling of this entire offense, and I want a part of that. So Travis Etienne is my clear 103 from me, ahead of Kyle Pitts in non-tight end premium, just because of the premium I put on the running back position. I want running backs who have a PPR floor, and he comes in Dynasty as my RB16 overall. So again, very expensive for me, but I think the price is worth it. He's someone I'd love to have on my team, and I think he's going to work great with Trevor Lawrence. And I do not buy Urban Meyer's nonsense that he's going to be just a third down back. Please, you don't spend a first round pick on a third down back, especially one that's this talented, who's played with the quarterback that he played with in college, who was the number one overall pick and one of the best college quarterback prospects of all time, if not the best. So you just don't do that. So I have no concerns.
Yeah, I love it. And, the last thing that I'll mention about the Jacksonville Jaguars is there were all these rumors, and as I studied them, it seems very real that Urban Meyer was very disappointed that he didn't get the draft Kadarius Toney. And you don't hear a lot of comments like that. Like, as someone who looks at a lot of these comments, like, you don't hear people talk about that. And so there's a little bit of talk right now out there on Twitter where, everybody's all 100% rational at all times. Kadarius Toney, does Urban Meyer's interest in him mean that maybe he doesn't fully believe in Laviska Shenault to be able to fill that role that has kind of that hybrid running back wide receiver tweener that we're expecting maybe he could be?
No, it means that they wanted the option to let DJ Chark walk after 2021. That's what it means. It means that they are not fully sold on their signing of Marvin Jones, and they wanted the option to let DJ Chark walk if he was too expensive. I think that's what it means. I think that Laviska Shenault is the one that they're tied to. He has 3 years left on his rookie contract. They're stuck with him. I mean, he's going to be there. DJ Chark is going into his walk year. So, this is it. He had a down year last year. He wasn't good as a rookie, so he has one good year of production. If he doesn't produce this year, he's gone, and his value's gone with it. I would take Laviska Shenault over DJ Chark in Dynasty. You're safer with Laviska Shenault. You have 3 years with this quarterback. DJ Chark can be on another team and worthless next year. So I'll just take Laviska Shenault in Dynasty over DJ Chark. And that interest in Kadarius Toney, to me, is more of a negative mark on their intentions to retain DJ Chark, because they probably think he's going to be too expensive. And they were looking for Toney as a long-term replacement at receiver in the offense, because they're tied to Shenault for 3 more years. He's not going anywhere.
We spent a lot of time there on Jacksonville because they're definitely by far the most interesting team all of a sudden in this division.
They have trouble more.
Because I kind of don't want to talk about this last team. This is a Tennessee Titans team that lost Corey Davis, lost Johnny Smith, and they followed up and they've got 2 day 3 receivers, Des Fitzpatrick and Racey McMath, who I've heard of Fitzpatrick. I've never heard of Racey McMath. Maybe you can fill me in on the Louisiana State prospect here. But I'm honestly just disappointed that there's not a backfilling of bringing some talent. You've got a team that was just in the playoffs and a quarterback that, Ryan Tannehill's not going to challenge for the best quarterback in the NFL, but you got a running back you like, you got a quarterback you like, you've got AJ Brown, who's a stud. Bring in some help, bring in some other weapons. Come on. What are you doing, Titans?
I give their draft an F. An F. An F. It's awful. It's awful. You have a contending team. That's what you have. You have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is 27 years old. You're coming to the end of Derrick Henry's workhorse abilities. You don't see workhorse backs at 30, 31, even 30. The wheels are coming off. Ryan Tannehill is about to turn 33. You had Corey, your leaders in targets last year. You had AJ Brown with 106, Corey Davis with 92. Did you replace Corey Davis? Oh yes, you replaced him by signing Josh Reynolds in free agency. No, that is not a replacement. Then you have Jonnu Smith at 65. What did you do to replace him? Nothing. You didn't replace him at all. And next on the team was Anthony Firkser with 53, who's still on the team. But do you really think he's going to get more targets? I mean, maybe he'll go up to Jonnu Smith's 65, but he's not combining his 53 with Smith's 65 to get to 118. That's not happening. And believe me, no more targets to the tight end are going to Jeff Swaim or whoever they signed, whatever nonsense they signed in free agency. That's not going to work. Did they draft a tight end in this draft when I thought that was a huge need for them? A huge need. They had the opportunity possibly to trade up or get Pat Freiermuth. They didn't want him. I thought he would have been a perfect fit on this team. You said, we talked about him on the North episode. He delivers great run blocking. And that's what they need on this team. A tight end who can do both things. That's probably why they let Jonnu Smith walk. Because Jonnu Smith, you want to use Jonnu Smith as a receiver. That's what you want to use him as a big receiver. That's what you really want to use Jonnu Smith for. So that's why they probably didn't pay him. But they don't have any receivers on this team. I mean, Des Fitzpatrick? Never even heard of him before the draft. I mean, I'd heard the name maybe mentioned once. I'd heard of Tutu Atwell, his teammate, who, I have my issues with. But, He's still way outproduced. I just looked at Des Fitzpatrick for an article I wrote about rookies who landed in the best landing spot. Him, but unfortunately, I wish someone better had landed here. But yeah, I looked at his production. I was not impressed. I mean, there was nothing to be impressed by. He went to college for 4 years. He produced nothing interesting in those 4 years. What are they doing here? I don't understand. So there were other receivers who were available at that time. They picked Des Fitzpatrick with the, early in the 4th round. They passed up on Amon-Ra St. Brown. They passed up on Tylan Wallace. That's what they did. They had these much better receivers available, and they decided to go with Des Fitzpatrick. And don't get me started on Racey McMath. Really? 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 We think that Racey McMath in the 6th round is going to solve anything? That is not a solution. That is a disaster. They should have just picked Seth Williams, who was also available at that time, who had fallen down the draft board. And instead, they picked Racey McMath, who I've never heard of. So I give the Titans offensive draft an F. An F. There's no other way to slice it. What if AJ Brown got injured? He missed time last year. He missed time. What if there's an injury? What if? You have to plan for those things. They have nothing. So they're one injury away from being the worst offense in the league.
If you were going to come up with a fictional name for a wide receiver in Nashville, Tennessee, it might be Racey McMath. Like, there's a non-zero chance, like, Racey.
I'm fine with that, but what did Racey McMath do? What did he do? Tell me something that he did in college.
I got nothing. But I love the name. And
he went to LSU. He went to LSU.
33 catches.
33 catches, 522 yards, and 4 touchdowns. No, that's not a seasonal line. That's everything. That's 3 years. 3 years. Mm-hmm. 3 years and 18 games played. And that's what he delivered. Nothing. So this is what the Titans did with their draft. They failed to put any weapons around Ryan Tannehill. I lowered him in Dynasty. I had to.
Yeah,
they didn't deliver him any weapons. People criticize Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith all the time, but they're better than Des Fitzpatrick and Racey McMath. So, I'm scared of this offense. This whole team is very scary to me. I think it's time to get out. It's stick with AJ Brown and get out of everyone else. It's time. It's time to get out.
It's time for us to get out of the AFC South. It was a great trip around the division. And look, if you are here, make sure that you are subscribed. Click down below. Just make sure it says subscribed and there's not a button for you to click.
Please do it.
Do it. And, go ahead, hit the notifications because you're going to want to know every time that we go live and that we have another video. Addison is working hard. You need to support Addison. He's doing it. He's doing an awesome job.
He does the recordings by himself.
Yes.
He does recordings by himself to bring videos to everyone.
And they're good.
They're really good. And we really need to support him. He works so hard to bring you guys that content.
Comment down below, hit the like button, and by all means, if for some reason you're not a premium subscriber for Dynasty League Football, go ahead and make the investment. Look, I think there's a promotion right now, $10 a Monkey Night Fight. You get to be a DLF subscriber, and I promise you, you're never going back. Once you see the difference it can make in your league with the tools and the ADP data and all that stuff, you're going to want to do that.
There's no better value. And the trade analyzer now has tight end premium. So if you needed one extra little bonus, you now have tight end premium setting available on our trade analyzer. So if you were waiting for that, you now have it.
For Tyler, for DLF, for me, I'm Cal, and we'll see you on the next episode.